everybody, welcome back. Today I will be doing a review of one of my very favorite, probably in my top 5 fragrances at the moment. This one is called La Mat. This is from Menditorosa, from the Talismans collection. They have a weird name and house. I'll link to their website below. But this one's called La Mat. I believe La Mat is the definition is the Fool from the tarot cards, how it relates to the scent itself. I'll just talk about the scent and not worry too much about the vision and the imagery. Have a look at this bottle. Crazy, uniquely shaped tops. This fragrance is, I'll come out and say, this is the most expensive fragrance that I own in my collection. It retails on the website for €250 at the moment for a 100ml bottle. But I will say that given that I'm not one to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on fragrances, this is worth every dollar that I've spent on it. I'll get into the fragrance and how it smells. Okay, so I've got a bit of a dry down already on my hand here. And I will describe to you what I smell. Months and months ago when I got a sample of this and I first sprayed it, usually what I try and do when I do a first sniff of something is not so much try and identify notes, but see if it reminds me of something. And even to this day, after I've worn it lots of times and smelled it closely and analysed the notes, whatever, I can't ever shake this imagery in my head that this, in the opening, to me, reminds me of the smell of fresh panettone. So panettone is an Italian sweet bread kind of cake that is traditionally eaten at Christmas and Easter. It usually has dried fruit in it. It might have some sweet liqueur in it. Because I'm familiar with that smell from my childhood, even though I never really liked eating it, I recognize the smell, and it always immediately takes me back to this smell. That sweetness, I believe, is coming from the Immortelle note in this fragrance, and the Immortelle is, for me, on my skin, my nose, the main player. The other main players here are also rose and patchouli and some spices. So what happens in that opening, you get this almost gourmandy, sweet, burnt sugar, cakey kind of smell. And when that begins to dry down and burn off, the rose and patchouli not necessarily take over, but they almost kind of fade in slowly, and they become more dominant as the fragrance dries down. It is a beautifully spicy rose, and after a while you almost get this combination of rose and patchouli and nutmeg that kind of create this fantasy chocolate accord. Okay, so I don't want to say like what you might smell in Noir de Noir by Tom Ford, but it's its own thing, and I think because the Immortelle is still there and is complementing it, that's kind of the illusion I'm getting from this smell. But having said that, when I wear this fragrance, I never feel like I'm wearing a gourmand fragrance, because clearly that's what I've been describing all this time. I think when you're smelling this one from a distance, you get different aspects. Okay, so when I'm smelling this up close, it's all about Immortelle, the sweeter, gourmandy aspects. And when I'm wearing it and I'm just being in its cloud, it's definitely more of a denser, spicy rose fragrance. And again, this is the kind of magic of this fragrance, is that you know, there are some fragrances like this that your nose can get tired of smelling. It can go on too long. Performance for this one is just perfect. It is around 8 hours. It's not huge. Like, you know, I do about 4 or 5 sprays of it. I might be overspraying, who knows. No one's ever complained about smelling this. Then again, no one's ever commented on it or you know, said they could smell it from the other side of the room. So it's just sitting in a bubble of pleasure for the entire day, and really almost eyes rolling in the back of your head kind of pleasure. Definitely one for cooler weather. I think you can imagine that in the heat this might get a bit cloying a little bit, but in the cool weather it kind of adapts to the coldness of the air, and really is straight down the line unisex for men, for also, you know, for men who can wear a rose. For me, rose and patchouli, I prefer that combination to the more ubiquitous rose and oud combinations, and the spice is just done right here. It dries down perfectly. It kind of leaves you slowly, and looks back and smiles. La Mat puts a smile on my face. I love it, and to me it's a very worthy Luca Turin 5-star fragrance. I'll give it 5 stars as well. That's La Mat. I hope you enjoyed it. See you later.